Welcome back to another special Thanksgiving edition of Austin's American Flyer, where today we're going to look at a Christmas gift in the form of an American Flyer train set and talk a little bit about what made it possible. Please join me today on Austin's American Flyer. I am so grateful to have some Patreon supporters and wanted to just take a few moments today to shout out to them and say thank you one and all for your support of this channel and for your support of me. This particular engine needed a significant amount of parts. In fact, it's probably one that most would say, it's probably just not worth the time and the effort and the money to get it operational again, because it's going to take more than it's worth to get it running. But because of your generosity and your financial support, I was able to purchase the many parts that were needed to get this thing running. And then in turn, it's going to be given as a Christmas gift to some young children for this coming Christmas. And I can't think of a better way to repurpose American Flyer. This has just been such a neat journey, and it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you Patreon folks. So thank you. And if there are any others of you out there that would like to join, please take a look at the links either after the videos or in the comments section if you'd like to participate in that. Love to have you. I am super grateful for those of you that have already done so. In addition to that, I also wanted to give a shout out to a local hardware company by the names of Barnes and Hoover. And here's a little bit about them. Here's their website. And it is so amazing to have a small town hardware store that has the parts that I need to do these kinds of repairs. I can buy certainly tools, lubricants, and they do have some screws that work wonderfully. So, boy, thank you, Barnes & Hoover, for all you guys do. And I just want to give you a shout out and say keep up the great work. We appreciate you very much. All right, with that said, let's get on with the show today on Austin's American Flyer. Before us is a 282 project that was one of these that I literally got in pieces, not all the pieces present. I've had to repair several of the wheels. One wheel was completely missing. Almost every screw is missing. The L brackets for the roller shell are missing. One of the tender wheels is missing. I mean, there's just the brush holder was broken in several pieces. I mean, it's just been really something. But it was given to me, and I'm working it back towards great running condition, and got the motor and chassis, everything cleaned, and everything's running there. So now I'm turning my attention to the tender. And I decided, even though everything else about this is all things you've seen happen on this channel before, I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the tender wheels. Like I said, there's only 3 of them, and these are so incredibly filthy that it's pretty tough to tell that they aren't, that they're metal. So I polished one up, and I thought I'd show you all what I found. Check out that groove on the steel wheel. Now, is it possible that there's that much wear on this wheel, or runtime on this wheel, that it's actually been worn into this shape? Is that possible? I mean, I can't imagine how much wear it would take to get there, and then if that's the case, how is it the plastic wheel is not worn out? or did someone grind it that way for some reason? I don't know, but all three of them are like that. I haven't cleaned these other ones up, but you can see that they've also got this weird wear groove in them. Just crazy. I've never seen anything like it. And I put them on a piece of track, and they fit the rail. So anyhow, pretty fascinating. I'm not sure I'm going to reuse them. I'm going to replace these just because I have suspicions they don't track very well with one side being worn down so far. You're going to have a diameter that's smaller on the steel side, and I think that was negatively impact the tracking. So, but interesting piece, a little bit of show and tell. Thought I would share about this interesting discovery while working on a 282 rebuild. In the course of looking at the wheels, I had to fix several of them. I also had to do a stud replacement, which this was a first for me. Well, yeah, I think so. Anyhow, now these studs are on the main dry wheels, so if you have a repair project where you've got a stud that's got something busted off inside or it's stripped out, you can get these replaced, or you can try tapping or rethreading the stud here, or possibly putting in a new core and drilling that out and tapping that. So in the case of this particular situation, there was a screw broken off. So what I did is I took a small drill bit, so smaller than the diameter threads, and centered that and drilled out a hole in the middle of the busted off piece of screw. Well, then I thought I'll just go ahead and put either a tiny screwdriver in there, or I don't have an easy out that small, so I tried some different things, some screws and whatnot. I could not get out the remainder of that screw. So I went ahead and used a tap and tried to thread it in there and ended up destroying it. It's oversized, the threads are stripped, phooey. So I spent all that time and got nowhere. So I tapped the stud out from the back of the wheel, had to pull the wheel off, tap it out, and then gently put a new one in. So that's kind of an interesting repair, and definitely not a hard one, just a little bit of a pain to get to. So back to this guy in question. It did include the main side rods on either side, but not the connecting rod, not the crosshead, not the front crosshead piece, not the front truck, and then screws. These screws were missing. Every screw holding the shell, there are metal L brackets on the side. Those two screws were gone. Up front here, screws were gone. So I don't know, 11 screws in total, I think, that I needed to add. And then someone had wired this up for 5-wire, and so I went ahead and added a little pin with shrink tubing on here and a new wire, because this one was shot. And anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and plug everything together now, and let's see what we get. Oh, and one other thing, because I always get a comment about, oh, your chassis are too shiny. Well, that's true. This will dull down. It's just freshly cleaned, and it always has an extra sheen for the first 24 hours or so, and then that fades, and you get basically just this. Maybe before I run the engine, I'll talk a little bit about this. So it's a little hard to see. There you go. You can see there's some places where the paint was rusting. I tried a couple different things, and I'm kind of happy with how this turned out. First, I cleaned it with mineral spirits and let that set for a day. Then I wiped that down. Then I used a rust remover, just in a Q-tip form, and rubbed that on there. I dried that, and then I wiped that down. Then I, just for kicks and giggles, put a blackening agent, like what you do to re-blacken side frames, on there to treat the rust. And I let that dry and polish that down. And then I just went over it with a Q-tip and I guess CRC 226, just to, again, to kind of clean it and it looks pretty good. Obviously, the rust is still there, but it cleaned it, and the rust is no longer gonna spread. Um, and there have been times when I've used a little bit of paint and tried to touch all that up, but you end up getting a tender with all these touch-ups on it. You can't make that go away. So short of sandblasting or removing all the paint, and then you destroy your original decals, I went this way, and I think it looks pretty good. And so anyhow, okay, back to our little operation here. Let's see what we get. A headlight. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I think there's I did have to also provide brushes and springs. Of course, those were gone. So I think it's still got to do a little bit of break in, wear in, but it's got decent speed for not having really any runtime yet. But there you go. We'll do a little bit of a rail test here in just a second. And so anyhow, okay, back to our little operation here. Let's see what we get. We get nothing. Why are we getting nothing? Got a headlight. Oh. Never a good sign.